Welcome to GDs. And this is Killing Eve Season 1. Season starts in Vienna, where we get our first look at Villanelle, a psychopathic and skilled assassin. And later, at a MI5 meeting in London, Carolyn Martins, the head of the Russian desk, informs the group, which includes Eve Polastri, an analyst, about the assassination of a Russian politician in Vienna, where the victim's femoral artery was cut when he was coming out of a restaurant with his girlfriend, without anyone noticing it. And now his girlfriend, and the only witness to the murders, is in UK, and needs protection. And Eve is tasked with providing her the same. Eve believes that the assassin is a woman, and asks if there is any CCTV footage, and Carolyn denies the presence of any footage. Eve bets with his supervisor Bill, that the killer is a woman. But for now she is prohibited from interviewing the witness. On the other hand, we get to have a look at Villanelle's apartment in Paris, where she is visited by her handler Constantine, who gives her another target in Tuscany. And Villanelle carries it out easily. While back in London, Bill informs Eve that there is a CCTV footage and the assassin is not a woman. And when Eve asks if he has seen the footage, he denies, and lets her know that he only got verbal information. But Eve believes it to be a lie and that there is no footage, and someone is trying to hide something. Eve decides to interview the witness, but she is high, and speaking in Polish, and the translator is not able to understand her. Thus Eve decides to shift her to a hospital, so that the drugs could run out of her system. But Eve recorded her responses, and goes to see her husband, who is a math teacher and of Polish descent. He, along with a young Polish kid, were able to translate the woman, and inform Eve that she said that the assassin was a flat-chested woman. Back in Paris, as Villanelle returns to her apartment, Constantine informs her that she left a witness behind in Vienna, and now she will be interviewed, and they can't let that happen and she needs to take care of it. In London, Eve shares what she found about the assassin from Bill, and believes it to be the work of a female assassin who is not yet on their radar, and is being protected. And Eve goes to the hospital to interview the witness again. It is here that Villanelle and Eve see each other for the first time. But before Eve could interview the witness, she is assassinated along with 2 guards and a nurse. Frank, Bill's and Eve's boss, is upset with them for not being able to protect the witness, and getting to know Eve interviewed her, and Bill defending her, fires both of them. And as Eve returns home, Carolyn asks her to come for a meeting, as she also believes that the assassin is a woman, and has been active for at least 2 years and is now even starting to show off. And as Eve goes to meet Carolyn, she takes her to a covert office, where she has been tracing similar assassination for past few years, and wants Eve to lead the hunt, as Carolyn is quite suspicious and want to know who is actually running everything. And Carolyn, seeing Eve's fascination about a female assassin, and because of the work she already did on her profile, thinks she is perfect for the job. In addition, Carolyn will also have deniability if anything goes wrong, since Eve was fired. Carolyn introduces Eve with Kenny, who is an excellent hacker, and tells Eve that she can bring in 2 more people in the team. And Eve recruits her former supervisor Bill, and Elena, their previous assistant, to help them in the hunt. Back in Paris, Constantine is quite unhappy with Villanelle for the mess she made in London, and is not willing to give her the next assignment, and lets her know that she should stay low. In addition, there will also be a lot of security, so it is better to avoid it. But Villanelle doesn't want to rest and takes the assignment anyways. And it was an easy kill for her, as there was no security. And Villanelle, knowing that Constantine lied to her about the security, wants to know the reason why he wanted her to stay low. And Constantine informs her that because of her kills in London, a secret task force has been assembled to look for her, and is being headed by Eve Polastri. And since they don't know anything about what they know, and they feel it would be better if they stayed low. But Villanelle, already being drawn towards Eve, doesn't want to stop, and lets Constantine know that she will be more careful, and that they don't need to stop. Meanwhile in London, Eve gets to know that there was only 1 nurse on the day of assassination. And now she knows that the woman she saw in the hospital was indeed the assassin she has been looking for. While Villanelle gets a new target, a Chinese secret agent in Berlin. And Villanelle takes him out. But in order to draw Eve's attention, she leaves her a clue by using her name on the entry list, as she carried out the kill. And Eve, in order to investigate the same, goes to Berlin. Eve reaches there with Bill, as Villanelle keeps an eye on her. Eve, in order to find more about the Chinese agent who was killed, goes to meet a source, And Bill was able to catch Villanelle, following Eve. And stops her from boarding. And as Villanelle leaves, Bill started following her. Eve, on meeting the source, was able to figure out that the agent assassinated was able to hack finances of a secret group. And figured out that they were paying an agent in the Chinese intelligence. And only a few days after this hacked the agent who was being paid. And their hacker, both were assassinated. And he gives her the finances to carry on her own investigation. While Bill, following Villanelle, is lured into a nightclub by her. Where Villanelle takes him out. Eve, getting back, is quite shaken by Bill's death. And even has a fight with her husband. Who wants her out of this work. And at the same time, she gets her bag back. But it turns out it had gifts from Villanelle. Meanwhile in Paris, Constantine is quite upset with Villanelle, for an unauthorized kill. And lets her know that he knows it was her, who drew Eve to Berlin. And Villanelle, also surprises him, by letting him know that she knows about his daughter. Constantine, gives Villanelle a new job. And lets her know that the higher up are upset with her. And for now she will have to work in a team. Back in London, looking at the financial records, Kenny was able to figure out that few payment from the group's account were also made to a London school. And Eve was able to figure out that the payment is for Frank's son. And this confirms him to be a mole. Eve informs Carolyn about the same. And Carolyn asks them to look for Frank, as he might lead them to who is behind the operations. And as Eve and Elena go to Frank's, we find out that Villanelle, with the team, was already there, to take Frank out. In addition, we also find out that one of the other two assassin, Nadia, is an ex of Villanelle, and as Villanelle left her behind, she is quite angry with her. In addition, we also learn from Nadia, that Villanelle's real name is Oksana. But before they could get to Frank, he makes a run for it. And following him they reach a dead end. And Villanelle, being upset with how she was being treated, pushes Nadia to take out his partner. Making her believe that they could get back together. And as they get ready to leave, Villanelle runs her down. Frank is able to make a run for it, and is saved by Eve and Elena, as Villanelle shoots at them. Frank, reaching a safe house, lets them know that the organization that paid him are known as the 12, and that the girl shooting at them is one of their best assassins. He also informs them that all the killing have a purpose, and it's a long-term plan. In addition, he lets them know that women chasing them is called Oksana. Back at the office, Kenny was able to access files for Oksana. And Eve learns that she was in a Russian prison 4 years back, and as per her file, she died in the prison. Eve tried the dress and the perfume which Oksana sent her. And to her surprise, Oksana was there in her home. Though she was not there to kill her. And wants to have dinner with her. And as they talk, we see a clear love-hate relation between them. And as Nico shows to the house, Oksana leaves, but before leaving she took Eve's phone. Eve informs about it to Carolyn, and this is when we find that Kenny is Carolyn's son. Eve's phone had the location of the warehouse where Frank was, as well their interview with him. But before they could reach the warehouse, Villanelle had already killed Frank. And as Villanelle returns back, she tells Constantine that it was Diego who ran over Nadia, and she had no choice but to shoot him to save herself. And Constantine informs her that Nadia is still alive, and in Russia. And if she want Nadia not to tell her side of the story, she has to take care of her. Constantine was able to convince Villanelle to go in the prison where Nadia is being held, and take care of her. And once done, he will get her out as he did before. On the other hand, Kenny was able to find that Nadia was taken back to Russia, and is currently imprisoned. And Carolyn and Eve decide to leave for Russia, so that they could interrogate Nadia. But before leaving, Eve has a big fight with her husband Nico. As he wants her to be out of this life. Carolyn and Eve reach Russia, and Carolyn, using her previous contacts in Russian intelligence, was able to secure a meeting with Nadia. But they will only get access to her in the presence of a Russian intelligence officer. And the officer that will be joining them turns out to be Constantine. And as they go to meet Nadia, before she could reveal anything, Constantine enters the room. And Nadia, seeing him, instead of giving him up, gives them a name, Anna, letting them know she will know more about Villanelle. And Nadia lets them know that she will reveal more only if they can get her out of there. Constantine, learning that Villanelle visited Eve, is surprised. And when Carolyn and Eve asks him to help them get Nadia out, so that they could learn more, he denies it. Eve, learning that Carolyn and Constantine have had close relation in her past assignment, wants Kenny to search their previous communication. In addition, Eve was also able to convince Konstantine's superior Vladimir to hand over Nadia. But before Nadia could be handed over, she was eliminated by Villanelle. Though Nadia, before dying, was able to pass a message. Villanelle is not rescued from the prison immediately. And even an attempt is made on her life, but she survives. Meanwhile, Kenny also reaches Russia, as he was able to find letters between Konstantine and her mother, indicating they were intimate with each other. Carolyn, finding out that Nadia is dead, and knowing Eve tried to deal behind her back, and now having no further clue, wants them to head back. But Eve is not willing to go back yet. And wants Kenny to hack the prison's security feed, as she believes it's Villanelle who killed Nadia. And Eve goes to meet Anna. And we find out that Anna was Villanelle's teacher. And it was her husband whom she killed, and this is why she went to prison. And on seeing Anna, and the letters, and the gifts which Villanelle gave Anna, Eve knew that she was in love with her. Anna tells Eve that she was informed that Villanelle is dead, by someone from the prison. And as Eve shows her a photo, she identifies Konstantine as the person who informed her. In addition, Eve also finds a passport for Villanelle and some money, in one of her gifts, and Eve keeps it. Meanwhile, Villanelle is finally broken out of prison. And gets a new handler, and he gives her a job. But Villanelle, not liking him, kills him. And finds that her next target is Konstantine. And Villanelle goes to his house to finish him. Villanelle asks him to give her the names of the 12. And Konstantine lets her know that only a few people know about the real identity of the 12, and they are known as the Keepers. And he is not one of them. But before Villanelle could kill him, he was able to surprise her. And makes his escape. While Eve, going through the security tapes, finds Villanelle in the prison. While Kenny was also able to see the presence of a note, which Nadia left before dying, Eve and Kenny, in order to find out what Carolyn knows, breaks into her room. Only to find Konstantine there. And they let her know that Villanelle escaped from prison, and has Konstantine's daughter as her hostage. And she wants him dead. Konstantine denies knowing who will want him dead. And tells them that he works for Russian intelligence and has a lot of enemies. Eve, not trusting Konstantine, wants to know more about Villanelle. And Konstantine tells her that he has not seen Villanelle for years. And he only trained her for some time for a private organization. On the other hand, Villanelle, trying to find her passport, visits Anna. And not finding it there, knows that Eve took it. Anna tries to confront her, but Villanelle lets her know that she no longer loves her. And she can't kill her, and Anna, overwhelmed, shoots herself. Villanelle calls Eve, and wants her passport back, as well as Konstantine. And as they go for the exchange, Villanelle gets her passport, but before leaving she shoots Konstantine. With no further leads, Carolyn, Eve, and Kenny get ready to leave. And Carolyn lets Eve know that she is fired. And that they are shutting the department. In addition, Carolyn informs them that Konstantine died in the hospital. But before they board, Elena informs Eve that she found an address in Paris. And Eve thinks it might be a Villanelle. And Eve goes to Paris, instead of heading back home. Reaching the apartment, Eve knows that it's a Villanelle, and she trashes it. And as Villanelle returns, Eve confesses how much she is fascinated by her. And always keeps thinking about every aspect of her life. Villanelle also confesses her affection towards Eve. And as Villanelle gives Eve the comfort that she won't kill her. It is Eve who stabs Villanelle with a knife, but Eve regrets it immediately. And as the season ends, we see Eve running to get help for Villanelle. But Villanelle, stabbed and angry, shoots at Eve. And Villanelle escapes and leaves the building. Thanks for watching. And if you liked it, please subscribe.